relaxed, reasoning that she had to be alive, unless the afterlife was a lot more bipolar than she'd been led to believe. She pulled herself to a sitting position and waited for the wooziness to subside. A gash on her knee was caked in dried blood. Another on her arm still seeped. Her dress was ripped and slightly scorched, and she wore only one shoe. It was one half of her best pair, and in her state of shock, finding the other became important. "Can you help me find my shoe?" "Sure, I saw some in the water. I hope they're not leather," the other girl said in an accent flat as a just-plowed field. She had huge, blue, anime-worthy eyes. "I'm Miss Nebraska, Mary Lou Novak." "Adina Greenberg, Miss New Hampshire." Adina cupped her hands over her eyes, looking out toward the sea. "I don't see it." "That's a shame. It's a real nice shoe." "Roland Misogny." Footnote 2. Roland Misogny, the notoriously fat-phobic French designer whose tourniquet-tight fashions adorn the paper-cut-thin bodies of models, starlets, socialites, and reality TV stars. In fact, when the svelte pinup Bananas Foster, famous for starring in a series of medical side effect commercials, was arrested in a Vegas club for snorting cholesterol-lowering drugs while wearing a Roland jumpsuit, he pronounced her, "Too fat to steal my oxygen. I'd die to see her misuse my genius. The earth weeps with me." Sales rose 88% that week. The House of Roland was the first to introduce sizing lower than 0, the -1. "We make the woman disappear and the fashion appear." "Roland Misogny," Adina said, and she honestly couldn't figure out why. She didn't care about the stupid brand. That was her mother's influence. Shock. It had to be the shock. "If I can find my suitcase, I've got an extra pair of sneakers in there. I'm a size 8. "Thanks." "You're welcome. I like to be helpful. It's sort of a Nebraska thing. My pageant sponsor says I've got a real good chance at Miss Congeniality this year." Miss Congeniality represents the true heart of the pageant, Adina found herself repeating from the Miss Teen Dream manual. She vaguely remembered that she used to make a gagging motion at that, but she was too dazed for snarkiness just now. Dazed because, yes, when she'd been looking for her shoe, she'd seen bodies in the water. Lifeless bodies. "Miss Congeniality is an ambassador of smiles," Mary Lou said in a choked voice. "It'll be okay," Adina said, even though she was pretty sure that this was the textbook definition of so not okay. "I think we should find everybody else." Mary Lou wiped her nose on the torn chiffon of her sleeve and followed Adina along the crescent of beach. The air smelled of smoke. A blackened metal wing lay on the sand. Sparkly evening gowns floated on the tide like jellyfish skin, the shininess attracting the curiosity of the seagulls who swooped over them in a repeated figure 8. Girls in various states of bedraggle dotted the sand like exotic, off-course birds. The contents of open suitcases and flung purses were strewn across the beach. A red, white, and blue fringed baton twirler's dress hung from a tree. A soggy beauty, whose sash identified her as Miss Ohio, stumbled out of the surf and sank to her knees, coughing up water and bile. "Oh my God," Adina muttered. She knew she should do something here. She just couldn't remember what. The corporation's Miss Teen Dream plane had been flying them to Paradise Cove for the 41st annual Miss Teen Dream pageant. They were to film some fun-in-the-sun promotional pieces, ride the water slides, and practice their performance numbers. They had all just arrived in Florida the night before, and that morning, at 10 a.m., 50 beaming girls in outfits adorned with something emblematic of their states had boarded the plane. Adina had wanted to put New Hampshire's famous poet, Robert Frost, on her outfit, but her mother and Alan had said